KMES English Medium Junior College welcomes its 12th standard students for the online lecture of psychology for chapter 6 psychological disorder for the topic mental wellness and mental disorder. Students, in today's lecture, we are going to study about Chapter 6, Psychological Disorder. In this, we will be covering the two topics, that is, mental wellness and the aspects of mental wellness. Second, mental disorder, its classification. That is, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorder and International Classification of Disease and Related Health Problems. 6.4 Mental Wellness. According to World Health Organization (WHO), mental wellness can be defined as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities when coped up with normal stress of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contribution to his or her own community. So, mental wellness is to cope with normal stress in productive and fruitful way. Aspects of mental wellness. 1. Emotional aspect. There is a sense of well-being and contentment. Sense of well-being, feeling of overall happiness and contentment, that is satisfaction, lead us to emotional aspect of mental wellness. Second, psychological aspect. There is high self-esteem and the tendency of self-actualization. Here, sense of well-being, when it is high, there is high self-esteem, self-confidence and tendency to self-actualize. That is the tendency to develop one ability to fullness, the ability to take the right decision, the ability to influence the environment, to satisfy one's need and tendency to contribute toward society and well-being. This is psychological aspect of mental wellness. Coming to the life philosophy, there are clear goals and objectives in life. Here, having a purpose in life makes us clear about the goals of life and view direction in life. Thus, mental wellness is a state of successful performance of psychological functions resulting in productive activity, fulfilling relationships with people's ability to cope with stress and ability to change and adapt. As we have studied in mental illness continuum, mental wellness too has the same. On one end of it, we will find people with good mental wellness, while on the other, we will find people with poor mental wellness. Wellness continuum can be better understood using the diagram given at the side, which is based on illness-wellness continuum model. This model is given by John Tarvis in Here, the horizontal line A denotes illness continuum, while the vertical line B denotes wellness continuum. There are four comparative quadrants. The first quadrant, here the individual has no mental illness. He experiences happiness and feels confident to face difficulties. This is a state of ideal functioning. So the person is in an ideal state of functioning. In quadrant 2, individual has no mental illness, but he still experiences subjective feelings of grief or unhappiness and sees no goals in life. So in quadrant 2, the people has no mental experience but mental illness but experience subjective feeling of unhappiness. Coming to quadrant 3. Individual belonging to this quadrant is suffering from mental illness, but in spite of illness, he experiences high sense of subjective well-being, has good self-esteem and is hopeful. That is, the person here suffering from mental illness, yet she experiences a high sense of subjective well-being. Coming to quadrant 4. Here the individual having twofold problems. He has mental illness. At the same time, he experiences distress and sees no goal in life. At times, personality disintegration is also observed. This is the lowest level of functioning. So, quadrant 4 is the lowest level of functioning. Here, the person has mental illness and also experience distress. Just as our physical health is not the same all the time, and when faced with illness, we take treatment and regain our health. In the same way, our mental health is also not the same all the time. When faced with psychological illness, one can take help of an expert and can regain one's psychological health also. Mental disorder. All disorder, whether a psychological one or a physical one, needs classification because the treatment directly depends on its type and cause. For proper diagnosis and treatment plan, we need to know the type or category of disorder. Unfortunately, the cause of various psychological disorders are explained differently by various perspectives and theories in psychology. Research is needed for this. However, the criteria for abnormal behavior emphasize on the cluster or symptoms, that is syndrome, for classification of mental disorder. But this keeps changing. Whereas attempts are made to make the classification more and more scientific. Psychological disorders are of many types and categories. Presently, there are two major systems to classify psychological disorders. One, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorder, DSM, and second, International Classification of Disease and Related Health Problems, ICD. Coming to the first one, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, also known as DSM. Presently, The two major systems of classifying psychological disorder are DSM and ICD. DSM was published in the first version by the American Psychologist Association in 1952, that is DSM, and in 2013 the DSM-5 was introduced, which contains 22 broad categories of mental disorder with subcategories. It is the classification of official recognition psychiatric disorder. For example, in DSM-5 include anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive and related disorder and personality disorder too. Whereas coming to ICD-11, presently ICD-11 ICD that is used is 11. The International Classification of Disease and Related Health Program was created by World Health Organization for documenting all types of diagnosis, disease, signs and symptoms and social circumstances. It contains a section of psychological disorder too. The latest 11 version of International Classification of Disease and Related Health Problem was presented in 2019. According to the ICD-11, there are 19 broad categories of mental disorder, most of which overlap with DSM-5.